Motion in your step.
Motivation in your heart.
Hello, and welcome to today's Motion and Motivation podcast.
We've put together a study guide for everyone. If you need it, you can grab it from the video description. All right, buckle up, everyone, because today we're diving deep into The Magic of Thinking Big by David J. Schwartz. You guys know I love this stuff, the power of mindset, achieving those big goals, and really tapping into your potential. And I know you sent over some really juicy excerpts from this book.
Oh yeah, this book is packed with actionable advice, real practical stuff you can apply to any area of your life. It all starts with that foundation of belief, really believing in yourself and what you're capable of achieving.
And you know, that really resonated with me too when I was reading through the excerpts. It's funny because I was so drawn to that part where Schwartz talks about how successful people prioritize creative thinking over just memorizing facts. Like, we all know knowledge is important, but there's something more to it, right?
Absolutely. Schwartz talks about this idea of creative power. It's like this mental energy, this force that you unlock when you truly believe in yourself and your goals. It's not just about having information stored away. It's about having the confidence to tap into it, to use it to find solutions and make things happen.
It's like he uses that analogy of a toolbox full of tools. It doesn't matter how many tools you have if you don't believe they're going to be useful. You won't even open the box.
Exactly. It's about having that belief, that conviction that those tools are going to help you build something incredible. You know, it makes me think about something you were telling me about how you've been thinking about starting your own business.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's been on my mind a lot lately. Actually, I was a little hesitant to even bring it up at first, but
I bet this whole idea of creative power really hits home for you right now with everything you're thinking about.
you know what? It really does. I mean, starting a business requires solving new problems every single day, right? You need that constant belief in yourself to fuel your creative problem solving, to adapt to new challenges and push through those setbacks. Even before diving into the nitty-gritty of market research or writing a business plan, that belief in yourself is what will actually drive you forward.
It's the engine, for sure. Think about it. You could have two people, one with a ton of knowledge on a certain topic, and the other who might have less knowledge, but is bursting with confidence and creative thinking. Who do you think would be more likely to find innovative solutions and really achieve success?
That's a good point. It'd probably be the one who's ready to take action and think outside the box, not just relying on what they already know. Okay, so let's say I'm ready to unleash my creative power. Does Schwartz actually give any, concrete steps for how to actually boost this way of thinking?
He does. He breaks it down into three main actions. First, being open to new ideas. You got to be willing to challenge those old assumptions and step outside of that comfort zone.
Right.
Then always trying new things. You can't unlock that creative potential if you're stuck in the same routine. You got to get out there and experiment, learn from those experiences, and refine your approach.
Makes sense. What's the third action?
It's all about making time for daily reflection. Taking a few minutes each day to think about what you've learned, how you can improve, and what new ideas have sparked your interest.
So it's like exercising a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets.
Exactly. It's about consistently flexing those creative muscles, making those connections that other people might miss.
It's like that example he gives with the car salesman who joins a graphic design club. Seems totally random at first glance.
Right. But maybe that salesman's looking for new ways to connect with customers or thinking about designing his own marketing materials. It's about thinking outside the box, making those unexpected connections that lead to new opportunities.
That's a great illustration of how broadening your horizons can open up new possibilities. Okay, so we've talked about the inner work of believing in ourselves and building that creative power. But Schwartz also mentions the impact of the environment we create for ourselves. What's he getting at there?
He has this great analogy. He compares our mental input to diet. Just like what we eat affects our physical health, he argues that the people we hang out with, the info we take in, even our physical surroundings, can all shape our thinking and ultimately influence our success.
So he's talking about cultivating a high-quality environment for our minds. What does that actually look like, practically speaking?
Well, Schwartz really stresses learning from those who are already successful. Surround yourself with people who inspire you. He also highlights the importance of those close friends who genuinely support your ambition.
Oh, totally. Like having a personal cheer squad to keep you motivated.
Exactly. It's about having that support system, especially when those doubts creep in. It's like creating a positive feedback loop, where your environment reinforces your belief in yourself and those big goals you're chasing.
I'm also remembering that part you pulled out, that 10-point formula for success that President Lyndon Johnson developed, the one about treating everyone with respect and celebrating the achievements of others. What struck you about that?
It really highlighted for me how someone like President Johnson, a man who achieved incredible success, recognized the power of genuine human connection. He wasn't just being polite. He was acknowledging that everyone has a role to play, and valuing others can create a ripple effect of positive energy.
And you specifically highlighted the point about remembering names.
Mm.
It's funny because in my line of work, that's crucial. Remembering names makes people feel seen and appreciated.
It's such a small gesture, but it can make a huge difference in how people perceive you.
Totally. And honestly, the more I focus on remembering names, the stronger my relationships become. It's like those little acts of kindness create a more positive and supportive environment overall.
It's all connected, right? Your internal belief, your external environment, how you interact with others, it all contributes to that overall sense of can-do energy.
For sure. But let's be real, we don't always walk into a room feeling like we're radiating confidence and positivity. Sometimes those doubts and fears creep in. How does Schwartz address those moments?
He's pretty straightforward about it. He says fear is the #1 enemy of success. But he's quick to point out that confidence is the antidote. And the key, he says, is to act confident even when you don't necessarily feel it.
Wait, is he saying we should, fake it till we make it?
He compares confidence to an immune system that needs strengthening. By acting confident, even if it feels a bit forced at first, you're sending signals to your brain that you are in fact confident. And eventually those feelings start to catch up with your actions.
You highlighted that part about walking 25% faster to project confidence. And it's funny, I've noticed that when I walk with purpose, I do feel more confident, more in control.
It's about those subtle shifts in behavior that can have a big impact on your mindset. It's not just about positive thinking. It's about acting in ways that reinforce those positive thoughts.
So it's like, we're hacking our own psychology to achieve success. Pretty cool. But even with all the confidence in the world, we're bound to hit some bumps in the road. What does Schwartz say about bouncing back from those inevitable setbacks?
He draws a really interesting distinction between how successful people and those who, well, don't achieve as much respond to those setbacks.
Oh, I'm curious. Tell me more about that.
Well, he says that those who struggle with setbacks tend to make excuses, while those who succeed focus on learning from the experience and trying again. They see those setbacks as opportunities for growth, not as signs of defeat.
Okay, so it's all about resilience, not letting those obstacles define us, but using them as fuel to keep moving forward. You know what? This reminds me of that anecdote you shared about the young couple who couldn't afford a down payment for their dream home.
Oh yeah, instead of giving up, they found a creative solution. They asked the builder for a private loan and then hustled to make those loan payments. It's a great example of how resourcefulness and a refusal to give up can make a huge difference.
That's inspiring. Okay, so we've got belief in ourselves, a supportive environment, a healthy dose of confidence, and the resilience to bounce back from setbacks. That's a lot to unpack, but Schwartz doesn't stop there, does he? There's also the whole piece about having a clear plan.
You got it. You can't just wander aimlessly and expect to stumble upon success. You need a roadmap. And this is where the magic of thinking big really gets practical.
Let's talk strategy. What does this roadmap look like?
Well, first things first. Define those goals clearly. What do you want to achieve? And I mean really clearly, in detail. Then break down those big, potentially overwhelming goals into smaller, more manageable steps.
It's like climbing a mountain, right? If you only focus on reaching the summit, it can feel impossible. But break it down into base camp, then the next ridge, and so on, and suddenly it feels more doable.
Exactly. And don't forget to celebrate those smaller wins along the way. That sense of progress keeps you motivated. But even with the best plan, sometimes those negative thoughts can creep in. The ones that say, what if I fail? Or this is too hard.
Oh yeah, I've got a whole chorus of those voices in my head sometimes. It can be tough to quiet them down.
Schwartz calls it excuse-itis. Basically, that habit of making excuses for why we can't achieve our goals. And he says negativity is everywhere. The news, advertising, sometimes even the people closest to us can contribute to it without even realizing.
Ugh. Excusitis. I think we've all been guilty of that at some point. It's like a sneaky little gremlin that tries to sabotage our dreams.
Totally. But Schwartz offers a really powerful tool to combat it. The sell yourself to yourself pep talk. You highlighted this passage, and it really stood out to me too.
Oh, I love this one. It's basically writing down all your best qualities, your strength, those things that make you unique and awesome.
And then, get this, you read it out loud to yourself every single day, like you're the star of your own personal motivational commercial.
I love that imagery. It's about consciously replacing those negative thought patterns with positive affirmations that remind us of how powerful and capable we truly are. It's like retraining our brains to focus on our strengths and potential, not those limiting beliefs.
It might sound cheesy, but honestly, try it. It can be incredibly empowering.
Okay, challenge accepted. I'm going to give that a go. Speaking of strength, there's that great example Schwartz gives about the teacher who realizes that making her students laugh is actually one of her greatest strengths.
Such a good one. It highlights how we all have unique strengths to offer. It's about recognizing and owning those qualities that make us special. And the more we focus on our strengths, the more confident we become, which fuels our success. And that inner confidence then starts to project outward.
So we go from internal belief to external impact. Wow. But does he really suggest that our success depends on other people?
He makes a really strong case for it. Schwartz is adamant that success is rarely a solo act. We need the support of others, the collaboration, the mentorship. Think about any great accomplishment throughout history. It was never just one person working in isolation.
You're right. There's always a team, a community, a network of people contributing their unique skills and perspectives.
He puts it simply. Successful people cultivate relationships and treat everyone with respect, recognizing that everyone has something valuable to offer.
Okay, I can see his point. So we're building those relationships, feeling confident, and we've got a solid plan in place. But Schwartz also talks about the power of attitude. What's he getting at there?
He makes this fascinating point about how we can all read each other's attitudes, even subconsciously. It's like a sixth sense we inherited from our ancestors who relied on nonverbal cues for survival.
So even if we're saying all the right things, if our attitude is off, people will pick up on it.
Exactly. And a positive attitude makes you more approachable, more persuasive, more likely to attract opportunities. Think about it. Who are you more drawn to? Someone radiating positivity or someone constantly complaining?
Okay, that's a good point. I know I'd much rather collaborate with someone who brings positive energy to the table, but let's be honest, staying positive all the time is easier said than done. How does Schwartz suggest we cultivate that kind of attitude, especially when we're facing challenges?
He gives some really practical advice. First, make sure you're doing what you believe is right, living in alignment with your values. When you're true to yourself, you naturally feel more confident and content, and that projects outwards as a more positive outlook.
I like that. It's about living with integrity. If you're constantly compromising your values or doing things that don't feel right, it's bound to affect your mood and how you show up in the world.
He also highlights the importance of taking pride in your appearance. And he's not nothing about superficiality. It's about recognizing that when you feel good about how you look, it can boost your confidence.
You know, I've noticed that myself. When I take the time to put myself together, it does give me a little confidence boost, which impacts how I interact with people.
Exactly. It's about putting your best foot forward and showing the world the best version of yourself.
It's like that extra little oomph of positive energy. And finally, he emphasizes the importance of finding meaning in your work. What does he mean by that?
He argues that when you truly believe in the importance of your work, when you feel like you're making a difference, it fuels your passion and gives you a sense of purpose.
It's like that saying, do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life. When you're genuinely excited about what you're doing, it shines through, right?
Absolutely. And that enthusiasm can be contagious, inspiring those around you and opening up new opportunities.
Okay, so we're back and ready to keep exploring the magic of thinking big. We've talked a lot about harnessing the power of belief, creating that success mindset, but now I really want to dig into, well, thinking big.
That's where the real magic starts to happen. Schwartz argues that the scale of your thinking directly impacts the scale of your achievement.
So if you think small, well, you're likely to achieve small things. Makes sense.
Right. But when you dare to think big, to really stretch your imagination, that's when you open up a world of possibilities.
I love that idea, but honestly, sometimes I struggle with limiting beliefs that tell me I'm not even capable of achieving big things. Like, there's this voice in my head saying, who are you to think you can do that?
Oh, I hear you. Those limiting beliefs can be so sneaky. Schwartz encourages us to challenge those beliefs, to ask ourselves, what evidence do I have to support this? Is it based on facts or just, fear and self-doubt? Often, those beliefs are rooted in past experiences that might not even be relevant anymore.
So true. We get stuck in those old patterns of thinking without even realizing it.
Exactly. And those patterns can hold us back from achieving our full potential.
You mentioned affirmations earlier, like replacing those negative thoughts with positive statements. Could you give me some specific examples?
Sure. Let's say you're feeling unsure about starting your own business. Instead of saying, I'm not experienced enough, try repeating affirmations like, I'm capable of learning and growing, or I am resourceful and I will find the support I need.
I like that. It's about shifting that internal dialogue to be more empowering.
Exactly. It's about creating a mental environment that supports growth and possibility, not limitation and fear.
Okay, so I'm working on reframing those limiting beliefs and focusing on more positive self-talk. But let's be real, there will always be problems and challenges, right? How does Schwartz suggest we approach those inevitable obstacles?
He says it's all about shifting your focus from the problems themselves to finding solutions.
So instead of dwelling on what's wrong, I should be asking, how can I solve this?
Right. It's about being proactive and solution-oriented, looking for those opportunities to learn and grow.
I can see how that shift in perspective could make a huge difference. But sometimes when I'm facing a tough problem, I honestly just go blank. Like, I don't even know where to start looking for solutions.
Yeah, I've been there too. When that happens, Schwartz has a practical tip. Brainstorm at least 10 possible solutions before making a decision.
10. That sounds like a lot.
It might feel overwhelming at first, but it forces you to really stretch your thinking. Push past those initial obvious solutions and explore a wider range of possibilities.
So it's about getting out of my comfort zone and thinking outside the box.
Exactly. You might be surprised at the creative and innovative ideas that come up when you push past your self-imposed limits.
I like that. It's a reminder that we often have more solutions available to us than we realize. But thinking big isn't just about tackling huge problems, right? It's also about how we approach our everyday lives, even those little tasks that might seem mundane.
You got it. Schwartz encourages us to bring that same energy, that big thinking attitude, to everything we do, even those small, seemingly insignificant tasks.
So it's about finding that spark of extraordinary in the ordinary.
Absolutely. He uses a wonderful example of a man who sweeps floors for a living. Instead of just mindlessly pushing a broom, this man sees his job as an opportunity to create a clean, welcoming environment for everyone who enters the building.
I love that. It's about finding meaning and purpose in our work, no matter what we do.
He emphasizes that no job is insignificant if you approach it with the right attitude. It's about taking pride in your work and striving for excellence.
You know, I remember that section you highlighted about cultivating an attitude of service. What resonated with you about that concept?
I think it really underscored for me that success isn't just about personal gain. It's about making a positive impact on the world around us.
So it's not just about climbing the ladder, it's about lifting others up as you climb.
I like that. It's about asking, how can I use my skills, my talents to be of service?
It's that shift from what's in it for me to how can I contribute?
Exactly. And he makes the point that when we focus on serving others, it often comes back to us in unexpected ways.
It's like what goes around comes around.
Totally. Those acts of kindness, those moments of service, create this ripple effect of positivity that can benefit not just those around you, but yourself as well.
So it's a win-win. You make a positive impact and also experience the personal rewards that come from being of service.
That's the magic of it. It's about aligning your actions with your values and creating a life that's both personally fulfilling and beneficial to the world.
But let's be real for a moment. Sometimes, even when we're thinking big and setting goals, we struggle to actually take action. Procrastination can be a real beast. What does Schwartz say about overcoming that inertia?
He's got some great advice for that. He really pushes us to be doers, not just dreamers, because action is what turns those dreams into reality. And one of his biggest tips is just to take that first step, even if it's tiny.
I know, but those first steps can feel so daunting, especially when you're looking at a big goal. It's like standing at the bottom of a mountain and thinking, how am I ever going to climb that?
He addresses that by saying, break it down. Turn that mountain into smaller, more manageable steps. Mini goals that feel achievable and help you build momentum.
So instead of climb the mountain, it's reach base camp, then the next ridge, and so on.
Exactly. It makes the journey feel less overwhelming and creates that sense of progress, which is so motivating.
And I think that's where having a supportive environment comes in again, being around people who believe in you and cheer you on.
Absolutely. He stresses how important your relationships are. They can either empower you or hold you back. If you're surrounded by negative, doubtful people, it's going to be that much harder.
You've got to be mindful of who you let into your inner circle. You need people who uplift and inspire you to be your best self.
He puts it simply. You become like the people you spend the most time with. So if you want to think big and achieve big things, you need to be around people who are already doing that.
It's like that saying, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
Right. And he even extends that idea to the information you consume. Be mindful of your mental diet.
Oh, like we were talking about earlier, that high-quality environment for your mind.
Exactly. What are you feeding your mind? Instead of passively scrolling through social media or watching reality TV, seek out books, podcasts, documentaries, things that will nourish and inspire you.
Okay, challenge accepted. I'm going to be more mindful of that. But even with the most positive mindset, we're bound to face setbacks, criticisms, maybe even rejections along the way. How does Schwartz suggest we handle those moments when our confidence takes a hit?
He offers some really valuable advice for dealing with criticism, starting with the fact that not all criticism is created equal.
Right, some of it is constructive and helpful, and some is just negativity disguised as feedback.
Exactly. He suggests asking yourself, is this coming from someone I respect, whose opinion I value? And is it specific, actionable feedback, or just a personal attack?
Those are good questions. It helps to filter out the noise and focus on the feedback that will actually help me grow.
And even if the criticism is valid, try not to take it personally. He says to separate your work from your identity. Just because someone criticizes something you've done doesn't mean they're criticizing who you are as a person.
That's an important reminder. It's easy to let criticism sting, especially if you're passionate about your work.
He also offers tips for responding gracefully. Listen without interrupting. Take notes to show you're engaged. Ask clarifying questions.
It's about turning a potentially defensive situation into an opportunity to learn.
Right, and even if the criticism is unfair, respond calmly and professionally. Stick to the facts.
Always take the high road, even when it's tough.
He really emphasizes that your reactions to criticism reveal your character.
So it's not just about what happens to you, but how you choose to respond.
Exactly. Your ability to handle those moments gracefully can actually strengthen your reputation and your relationships.
I like that, turning a challenge into an opportunity for growth. Okay, let's shift gears for a second and talk about something I know a lot of people struggle with, myself included. Procrastination. You mentioned that Schwartz offers some good insights on this one.
Oh yeah, he dives right in. He identifies those common culprits behind procrastination. Fear of failure, feeling overwhelmed, not being clear on the next steps, or just finding the task straight up unpleasant.
Oh, all of the above for me, honestly. So what does he suggest for actually breaking free?
Well, first and foremost, he says to break those big tasks down into smaller, more manageable chunks.
It's a recurring theme. But it makes sense, right? Breaking things down makes them feel less daunting.
Totally. And set clear deadlines for each of those steps. Hold yourself accountable. Another powerful technique he recommends is something called the 5-minute rule.
Okay, tell me more about that.
Basically, you commit to working on the task for just 5 minutes. That's it.
But how does 5 minutes actually help?
It's about tricking your brain into getting started. Often, once you overcome that initial inertia, you find yourself getting into a flow and working much longer than 5 minutes.
I like that. It's like lowering the bar to entry. Instead of, I have to tackle this massive project. It's, okay, just 5 minutes.
Exactly. And sometimes that's all it takes to get the ball rolling.
Procrastination is definitely an ongoing battle for me. I appreciate these tips. But okay, shifting gears again. Communication is obviously huge for success in any area of life, and Schwartz dedicates a whole section to it.
He emphasizes that effective communication is key, whether it's in your personal life, your career, anything. He breaks it down into 3 core elements: clarity, conciseness, and active listening.
So it's not just about what you say, but how you say it and how you really listen to and understand others.
You got it. He gives some great specific tips for improving those skills. For example, he says to be mindful of your audience and tailor your message accordingly. If you're writing, use strong verbs and vivid imagery. And for speaking, well, practice.
You know, public speaking has always been a fear of mine, but I can see how pushing myself to practice, even in small settings, could make a difference.
He actually emphasizes that even experienced speakers practice and prepare. It's about honing your craft and making sure your message connects.
Practice makes progress, right? Okay, so we've got clarity, conciseness.
And then active listening. He stresses that this isn't just about hearing the words, but really understanding the speaker's message and perspective.
It's about being present, engaged, not just waiting for your turn to talk.
He gives a few tips for becoming a better listener, like making eye contact, focusing on the speaker's words, asking clarifying questions.
So showing that you're really interested in what the other person has to say.
Exactly. And when you listen attentively, you not only gain a deeper understanding of the other person, you also build trust and rapport, which are essential for any strong relationship.
Turning those conversations into opportunities for genuine connection. I love it. But not every conversation is easy, right? Sometimes you have to deal with difficult people or those really challenging situations.
Oh yeah, he definitely addresses that. He gives strategies for handling those tough conversations gracefully. Stay calm, listen actively, and focus on finding a solution you can both agree on.
Okay, that makes sense. But sometimes those conversations can get pretty heated.
He emphasizes being assertive without being aggressive, setting clear boundaries to protect yourself. And sometimes the best solution is to simply walk away.
Knowing when to disengage is important.
Exactly. Choose your battles wisely. Prioritize your own well-being. You don't have to engage in every argument or try to win every time.
Sometimes it's better to just walk away and maintain your own peace of mind. Okay, let's talk about something that often causes stress and anxiety. Money. What does Schwartz say about achieving financial success?
Well, first he reminds us that financial success isn't just about earning a lot of money. It's about managing it wisely.
Budgeting, ew. It always feels so restrictive. Does he have any tips for actually enjoying the process?
He says to set financial goals that are meaningful to you. Maybe it's saving for a down payment on a house, a dream vacation, anything that excites you.
I love that. It reframes budgeting from I have to I'm working towards something I really value.
Exactly. And be mindful of your spending habits. Before each purchase, ask yourself, do I really need this or do I just want it?
Ooh, that's a good one. Helps you separate those impulse buys from purchases that truly align with your goals.
He also reminds us that even small, consistent savings add up over time.
So it's not about making drastic changes, but creating those positive, consistent habits that will lead to financial security.
He even suggests automating your savings. Set it up so that a portion of your income automatically gets transferred to your savings account each month.
Ooh, I like that. It takes the decision-making out of it.
It makes saving effortless. But of course, financial success is just one piece of the puzzle. What about taking care of your physical and mental health?
Okay, yes. That's so important, but honestly, sometimes it feels like there's just not enough time to do it all.
He gets it. It can be tough to prioritize self-care when you're juggling so many things. But he also reminds us that even small changes can make a big difference. Taking a 15-minute walk, swapping out sugary drinks for water, getting an extra hour of sleep.
It's about finding ways to weave those healthy habits into your routine, even if it's just baby steps at first.
And remember, self-care isn't selfish. It's an investment. You can't pour from an empty cup.
So true. Taking care of yourself allows you to show up fully in all areas of your life.
Speaking of routines, he's a big advocate for establishing those positive habits that support your goals, whether it's related to your health, your work, your relationships.
Habits are so powerful, but how do we make them stick? Especially the good ones.
Well, he reminds us that habits are built through repetition and consistency. The more you do something, the more automatic it becomes.
So the key is to make it a regular practice.
He suggests picking a few key habits you want to develop and create a plan for how you'll integrate them into your routine. Maybe use visual reminders like sticky notes or a vision board. And most importantly, be patient with yourself. It takes time to build those new neural pathways.
It's about celebrating progress, not perfection, right? We're all human. We're going to slip up sometimes.
Exactly. And remember, progress is a journey, not a destination. And sometimes that journey involves pushing ourselves out of our comfort zones and embracing new challenges.
Speaking of which, Schwartz is all about lifelong learning. How does he suggest we stay ahead of the curve in today's rapidly changing world?
He's adamant that it's more important than ever to be a lifelong learner. Be curious, always seek out new knowledge, embrace opportunities for growth.
So it's about having that growth mindset instead of a fixed mindset.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Your brain is incredibly adaptable. You can learn and grow at any age.
That's so encouraging. It's never too late to learn something new, but sometimes it feels overwhelming, like there's just too much information out there.
He suggests getting creative with how you learn, making it part of your everyday life. Listen to podcasts during your commute, read articles on your lunch break, watch documentaries in the evening.
Finding those little pockets of time to keep your mind engaged.
And he reminds us that learning doesn't have to be formal or structured. You can learn just as much from everyday experiences.
It's about staying curious and open to new experiences.
Which brings us to another important point: stepping outside your comfort zone and taking calculated risks.
Taking risks can be scary, but I know it's often necessary for growth. But how do you know which risks are worth taking?
He suggests asking yourself a few key questions. What's the worst that could happen if I fail? What are the potential rewards if I succeed? And does this align with my values and my goals?
So it's a calculated risk. You weigh the pros and cons before jumping in.
Exactly. Be thoughtful, strategic,
Mm.
but also remember that failure is a part of the process.
It's about learning from those experiences and not letting fear hold you back.
He's a big believer in persistence.
Mm.
The road to success is rarely a straight line. You'll encounter ups and downs, moments when you want to give up.
I know that feeling all too well. It's like, how do you keep going when it gets tough?
He says to keep those goals front and center. Visualize yourself achieving them. Surround yourself with people who believe in you.
Your support system is everything, right?
For sure. And remember, every step, no matter how small, moves you closer to your goal. Celebrate those little wins along the way.
It's about acknowledging those small victories, even when it feels like you're not making much progress.
Exactly. And all that pushing and striving can be draining, so don't forget to take care of yourself.
Oh, yes, self-care.
He emphasizes that it's crucial for maintaining your energy and focus. Remember, you can't pour from an empty cup.
I need to remind myself of that more often.
He suggests making time for activities that nourish you, whether it's spending time in nature, meditating, doing something creative, or just taking a long bath.
Whatever fills your cup back up, right?
And nurture your relationships. Those close connections provide a sense of belonging, support, and love, which are essential for your well-being and ultimately your success.
It's a good reminder that we're not meant to go through this journey alone. We need those people who lift us up and challenge us to be our best selves.
When you focus on nurturing those relationships, it not only benefits you, it creates a ripple effect of positivity.
Creating a more loving and supportive world, one relationship at a time. I love that.
And at its core, that's really what the magic of thinking big is all about. It's about using the power of your mind to create a better future for yourself and the world around you.
Okay, we're back for the final stretch of our deep dive into the magic of thinking big. We've explored so much already, from the power of belief and positive thinking to setting goals and taking action. Now I'm really looking forward to those final nuggets of wisdom, those inspiring takeaways that'll send us out into the world ready to make those big dreams a reality.
You got it. Let's zero in on some specific techniques that Schwartz suggests for amplifying that magic and making it all come together. Remember, it starts with your mindset. You have the power to change your life just by changing how you think.
That's pretty powerful stuff. We often feel stuck, like things are happening to us, but Schwartz is saying we can actually take control by shifting our thinking.
Exactly. And one of the most powerful techniques he talks about, which we've touched on a bit already, is using affirmations.
Now, you've mentioned affirmations a few times, but honestly, I'd love to hear more about how they actually work. Is it really as simple as just saying positive things to yourself?
It might sound simple, but honestly, don't underestimate it. Think of affirmations like planting seeds of positive belief in your mind. Over time, as you consistently repeat them, those seeds start to take root, and they influence your thoughts, feelings, and actions.
So if I'm battling self-doubt, I could try repeating things like, I am confident, or I am capable of achieving my goals.
Precisely. Find affirmations that resonate with you and repeat them regularly, daily if you can. It's like creating a positive mantra for yourself.
Like a little pep talk for your brain. Okay, I like that. What else does he suggest?
Another powerful tool is visualization. You mentioned feeling overwhelmed by the size of your goals. Well, visualization can help with that, and with building momentum towards your dreams.
Okay, tell me more. How does it work?
It's about creating a vivid picture in your mind of yourself achieving those goals, as if it's already happened.
So I'm basically making a mental movie of my dream future.
Exactly. Make it as detailed as you can, engage all your senses. The more real it feels, the more powerful it is.
That's so interesting. I remember reading somewhere that when we visualize something, our brains actually fire in similar ways as when we actually experience it.
Exactly. It's like you're creating a mental blueprint for success.
Okay, so we've got affirmations and visualization. What else is crucial for making those big dreams a reality?
Perseverance. You have to be willing to stick with it even when things get tough.
Oh yeah, persistence is key. It's about not giving up on your dreams, right?
Absolutely. Schwartz reminds us that the path to success is rarely a straight line. There are going to be setbacks, roadblocks, moments when you just want to quit.
Ugh, I know those moments all too well. It's so easy to get discouraged when things don't go as planned. How do you stay motivated and keep that momentum going when those inevitable challenges pop up?
He has a few suggestions. Revisit your goals often. Visualize yourself achieving them, and surround yourself with a supportive community, people who believe in you and will cheer you on. Remember, you don't have to do this alone.
It's about having those cheerleaders in your corner, reminding you of your strength and potential when you start to doubt yourself.
And don't forget, every step you take, no matter how small, is moving you closer to those goals. Celebrate those wins along the way.
I love that. It's about enjoying the journey, recognizing the progress you're making, even when it feels like you're moving at a snail's pace.
And I think one of the most important messages that Schwartz leaves us with is that success isn't really a destination, it's a journey of growth and self-discovery.
It's not just about checking things off a list, it's about becoming the best version of yourself along the way.
Exactly. You're going to learn so much from the challenges, the setbacks, the triumphs, and all of that contributes to who you become.
It's about embracing those experiences and realizing that there's no one right way to do it. We each get to define what success means to us and create our own unique path.
He really emphasizes that point. We all have unique talents and gifts, and it's about embracing what makes you special and using those gifts to make your mark on the world.
Okay, that's beautiful. But if you had to sum it all up, what's the most important takeaway from the magic of thinking big?
Believe it can be done. When you truly believe in yourself and your ability to achieve something, your mind will find ways to make it happen.
It all comes back to that belief, that spark that ignites all the possibilities.
Exactly. Belief is the fuel. And as you go out there and chase those big dreams, remember this: believing a solution paves the way to a solution.
So to all our listeners out there, go forth and think big. Believe in yourselves, embrace the incredible power of your minds, and don't be afraid to create the life you truly desire. It all starts with that belief, that vision, and the courage to take that first step.
And remember, the journey is just as important as the destination. Enjoy the ride, embrace the challenges, celebrate those victories, and never stop learning and growing.
A huge thank you to all of you for joining us on this deep dive into the magic of thinking big. We hope you found it inspiring and helpful on your own journey to success.
Until next time, keep diving deep, keep dreaming big, and keep believing in the magic of your own minds. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. That way you won't miss any of our updates. Also, if you think this video could help others, please share it with them. Thanks for watching and for your support.